The Los Angeles Lakers have been wildly inconsistent this year. I've meant to make this video for a while, and the game against the Timberwolves finally pushed me to make this video. Then also just now, this latest loss to the Bulls. Hopefully this time I can finish editing this in time before the next game. If you're watching this, I was able to do that. The game against the Timberwolves though, I rarely turn off games early, but that time I stopped watching during the third quarter because it was that bad. This time against the Bulls though, yeah, they did put up a good fight, but they didn't win, and I'm not about participation trophies.
You play to win the game.
Now, I expected this team to have a slow start with a bunch of new pieces put together. However, right now there are just so many red flags, and I'm not so sure that the red flags really can be fixed. Now I finally have time to vent about it on here. I could have done it after the Mavericks game, but then the Lakers actually lucked out that time, and they barely beat the Mavericks without Luka Doncic, but now they've lost their last two, so now I finally get to vent about it. This team is only one game above 500 at the moment, despite having championship aspirations going into the season. So, if you're new here, it's Nick, and I know you can already see it that I'm a Lakers fan, and I've been one for over 20 years now. Yes, I've been through worse than this, but that doesn't mean that I can't be frustrated with the state of the team right now. It's not good to say the least. So if you're either a Lakers fan feeling as frustrated as I am, or you're a basketball fan or a sports fan in general that feels my pain, you can feel free to consider hitting the like button, consider subscribing and ringing the bell if you're new for more sports content from me, and links to my social media are in the description. Really appreciate your support. Now let's keep going. So we have to start at the top. Rob Pelinka seemed like a great GM not that long ago. It's nice knowing that he was Kobe's agent and they had a very close relationship, but how he's running the team is not competent. He's deciding to go with names over fit and a bunch of old guys, and we're seeing the product on the court right now. It's a mess. Now, yes, teams that are older than the Lakers right now have won championships before. However, those teams were well constructed and well coached. This team is not. I didn't like the Russell Westbrook trade when it was first made. When the Lakers got some shooters around their big three, I decided to give it a chance, but we are seeing the product right now. It's giving me 2013 vibes, a team that looks stacked on paper, but they're old, they don't fit together, and a bunch of injuries. I'll start with one questionable move that Rob Pelinka made that I did not like at all the moment it was made. Bringing in DeAndre Jordan to replace Marc Gasol. Now, while Marc Gasol looked washed last year, he's still better than DeAndre Jordan. You brought back Dwight Howard, then you bring in DeAndre Jordan. What is there that Dwight Howard can't do even now that DeAndre Jordan can? Can you name one thing? At least Marc Gasol can space the floor and shoot threes even if he is slow-footed. He's also always been a very good facilitator. There's a reason why the Nets took DeAndre Jordan out of the rotation during the playoffs. DJ can block some shots, but he's not as quick as he used to be. On offense, he never was skilled. Defensively, he was one of the better defensive big men in his prime, but even back then, he was never the best communicator, but his athletic ability did make up for quite a lot of that. Against the Bulls, DJ had 7 rebounds, but I'm pretty sure most of them were in the first quarter. Now, I get that the Lakers have been shorthanded because of COVID. Well, everyone's shorthanded right now. At least it seems like that, so next man up. The Lakers haven't even played well against teams that are shorthanded, such as just now to the Bulls, who are without Zach LaVine. They already lost to the Grizzlies without Ja Morant and Dillon Brooks, and barely beat the Mavericks without Luka Doncic. There's also that time where the Lakers lost to the Kings in triple overtime. Losing to the Timberwolves twice this season, losing bad to them, that's unacceptable. For a team that had championship aspirations going into the season, that's unacceptable. Now, while I am forever grateful for the championships I got to experience, including the one in the bubble, yes, I'm still frustrated with what's going on right now. I care about right now a lot more than I care about the past. Right now, the Lakers are 25th in offense, they're 7th in defense, and that actually really surprised me to find out because for much of the season, their defense has been Swiss cheese. When I first started scripting this video last month, their defense was a lot worse than 7th, I can tell you that for sure. Now I want to get to Frank Vogel. He didn't coach this game against the Bulls, but I have not been pleased with him at all this year, so I still have to talk about him. Frank Vogel was phenomenal in the bubble. He looked elite with his game plans, rotations, adjustments. Now Frank Vogel just looks lost. It's like he forgot how to coach. I know Frank Vogel is more of a defensive coach, always has been. I also understand that there's only so much he can do with his personnel. Like, we're not expecting Melo to bolster the defense when that's not something he was even good at when he was in his prime. However, these guys have looked lost on many defensive rotations this year. Offensively, it looks like everyone's playing for themselves. It looks like Frank Vogel is drawing up plays with a crayon. There's no flow or nuance in the offense whatsoever. I also have to ask Frank Vogel, I know he's not watching, but are you scared of LeBron? Who's the coach of the team? I thought so. You are. I don't care what LeBron's status as an all-time great or what he thinks of himself. You're the one in charge. You have no reason to be afraid of him. Also, I don't know what it'll take for Frank Vogel to ever get this, that Rajon Rondo and Russell Westbrook should never be on the floor together. They're a terrible fit together. Even with the Lakers being shorthanded, they should still not be on the floor together, period. Now, I do think to some extent Frank Vogel is being unfairly scapegoated because, like I said, a lot of times there's only so much a coach can do, but to act like he shouldn't be blamed at all for the Lakers' mishaps this year, I think is also silly. While I absolutely do thank Frank Vogel for 2020, I feel like if the Lakers continue to be this inconsistent for the rest of the season, he's likely getting fired. I'll wish him well if he gets fired, but it's also definitely warranted if the season continues to go the way it has been. Since last year, it's been like he's forgotten how to coach. He didn't manage LeBron or AD's minutes very well last year, coming off his short off season. In the playoffs against the Suns, it was just terrible preparation trying to figure out his rotations during the playoffs rather than before the series started. Now let's talk about LeBron. Bronsexuals, you may want to exit out of this video right now because I'm pretty sure you won't like what I have to say. If you want to dislike the video because you don't like what I have to say, hey, YouTube's not counting those anymore anyways. But also, before I continue, I just want to make it clear, I am not a LeBron hater. Much like what I just said about Frank Vogel, I'm absolutely grateful for the 2020 championship. It was the greatest birthday present of my life. But that does not mean LeBron is above criticism. And sorry if you want me to acknowledge him as the GOAT, because you're in the wrong place. No, he's not the GOAT to me. He's one of them, I'll tell you that, but to me, no, he's not the GOAT. If you believe that he's the GOAT though, you're entitled to your own opinion. I just don't agree with you. So where I gotta criticize LeBron, he's gotta stop holding the ball so damn long and stop dribbling the air out of it. That's how you get your teammates out of rhythm. Everyone here watching this, at least most of you guys, you've played basketball before, right? If one guy is dominating the ball that much, it's hard for everyone else to get in a rhythm. These guys are human beings, they're not robots. If LeBron really does make his teammates better or not, he really doesn't make everyone better. The notion that he makes everyone better is a total myth. The reality is he makes shooters and pick and roll big men better. Those are really the only guys he makes better. And it's definitely no coincidence to me from his playstyle. I also have to ask this because also, why does he keep chucking those deep threes from the logo or close to the logo like he's Steph Curry? Yeah, he can make some of them, but he definitely doesn't make nearly enough of them to be taking as many as he does. And the fact that he likes to take them when the Lakers are down one or when the game is tied. Since when was that good shot selection? I get that LeBron is not good at stopping on a dime for a pull-up mid-range shot, but you can still get a better shot than a deep three with the game tied or down one. LeBron's been streaky from three this year. When I started this script, he was shooting 33% from three. Right now, he's at around 35%, which is alright. That awful loss to the Kings, though, just 15% from three on 2 of 13 attempts. Last game, just 2 of 6, and this game, just 1 of 7. I understand Father Time is finally kicking in. It really is impressive that LeBron has been able to stay elite for as long as he has. I understand that while his longevity is incredible, he's not immortal. This is all stuff I realize. So I understand bulldozing his way to the rim is not nearly as easy for him as it used to be. However, he still should not be chucking those really deep threes in late game situations where the game is tied or the team is only down one. This should just be common sense for anyone who's ever picked up a basketball. Late in the game, when you're down one or the game is tied, you shouldn't even be shooting a three period, especially from as deep as he likes to shoot them from. that game against the Mavericks, I remember saying 5 times in a row, you don't need a 3. And then he decides to shoot from Steph Curry land, and then I screamed, you don't need a 3. I know Bronsexuals will say he's scoring 25 points per game. What's wrong with that? How about look at the win total? If player evaluations work the way they do in baseball, where you can only make the playoffs just once in your whole career and still be a 3-time MVP and be considered the GOAT without any rings, yeah, you'd have a point. Also, how this year in baseball, every MVP finalist didn't even make the playoffs, yeah, you'd have a point about his stats. Sadly for you, this is a basketball conversation, and winning matters more than anything else when it comes to player evaluations in basketball. Yes, basketball is a team sport too, but it takes a lot more of a team effort to win in baseball than it does in basketball. Also, this Instagram post right here, this is so cringeworthy. And yes, this is also a reason why I don't consider LeBron the GOAT. To be gloating when you beat the second worst team in the NBA, at least go on a big winning streak and beat some contending teams before you post something as cringeworthy as this. You have nothing to be bragging about right now. You think that's something Michael Jordan or Kobe would ever post? Now, yeah, when Michael Jordan played there was no social media, but just knowing Michael Jordan's personality, it doesn't sound like him. I don't think he would have posted that when he dropped 43 on the Nets when he was 40 for a team that was below 500. If he did, well, at least it's against a team that was on its way to its second straight NBA Finals appearance. But even then, I would not like that at all, and I don't think that he would do something like that. For Kobe though, I can say for a fact that he wouldn't. Remember in 2013 when the Harlem Shake was a fad? And I remember participating in one myself with my college dorm. I also remember Kobe saying when a bunch of other teams were doing it that we're not doing that unless we're celebrating a championship. With all this said though, I do still think LeBron is a top 5 player in the NBA right now, or at the very least borderline. Just that post really made me cringe, and he sure didn't play well at all against the Timberwolves, scoring just 18 points on a whopping 5 of 13 with 4 turnovers and 5 fouls. This time against the Bulls, he did put up a nice stat line of 31 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists, but he was also 1 for 7 from 3 and missed 2 crucial free throws. If you're not winning, I don't care about 31 points.
You play to win the game.
Now let's get on to Anthony Davis. Now Anthony Davis is about to miss some time with an MCL sprain, and I wish him a speedy recovery. Although, while it is frustrating that he's hurt again, it's definitely not surprising at all. This year it's been like he's either playing not to get hurt or he's just complacent with 1 ring and 1 big paycheck. I expected and hoped that Anthony Davis would level up after winning his first championship, much like Kobe, Steph, and LeBron did, because of that championship confidence. Instead, he's regressed ever since the championship season, because he's either complacent or he's playing not to get hurt. And when you're playing not to get hurt, yeah, either you're gonna get hurt and also you're not gonna be as good as you're capable of. AD said that he wants his number retired, and that's why he didn't go back to 23 when LeBron switched to number 6, right? I think that AD will get his number retired because of the 2020 championship. But the way he talks to the media, how he keeps saying we're not doing good enough, we gotta do better and all that, it's been all talk, no substance. He's gotta be able to do a better job backing up his words. I wish he had more of that Mamba mentality. Like, after the Lakers won their first championship in the three-peat, Kobe was like, I ain't down to be a sidekick anymore, I'm taking over the league. He didn't quite do that yet because he had Shaq on his team, but Kobe most certainly improved a lot after the first championship, while Shaq was at his peak during the three-peat. AD really needs a lot more dog in him. Also, how he's not aggressive enough? Bro, it's not even rough and tough near the rim anymore like it used to be. AD needs to be more aggressive. He keeps saying he needs to, but won't actually do it, and instead keeps settling for jump shots. I've even seen guys like Kyle Lowry keep him out on the perimeter. Kyle Lowry, who he's almost a foot taller than. Something I saw in StatMuse a while back is that AD is shooting the worst percentage on jump shots among players with 150 plus attempts, and I don't think that has really changed since I saw that on StatMuse last month. AD is not even shooting 20% from 3, and I'm pretty sure he's been under 40% on mid-range shots, but he wants to continue to try to play like Dirk Nowitzki, which is someone he is not. Even before last season, AD had his moments where he wasn't aggressive enough. That series against Houston in the bubble, while yes, AD did play well, he also did what the Rockets were hoping for him to do by taking a lot of mid-range shots, While yes, he made a lot of those mid-range shots, I think I'd still rather have AD beat me on mid-range shots than at the basket. Even a 6'7" PJ Tucker wasn't able to keep him away from the basket a lot of the time. I really don't want to turn on a guy who played such a big role in my team winning a championship, but just how he's carried himself, not wanting it enough. He keeps saying that this team needs to want him more, yet he doesn't actually live up to his words. It's been frustrating and I really don't like it. If you believe it's complacency or if it's because he's been afraid to get hurt, yeah, we can have this discussion in the comments too. It could even be both. And this is also why it just boggles my mind that anyone ever had the audacity to compare AD to Tim Duncan. When AD can lead his team to multiple championships, then we can start comparing him to Tim Duncan. But until then, no, absolutely not. I also want to talk about Russell Westbrook. I knew this would be a bad fit the moment he came over. I did backtrack when the Lakers got some shooters around their big three. I thought maybe we could give this a chance to work. At least Russ is competing though. We expected that out of him. However, he's also a turnover machine. We knew we'd have to take the good with the bad with him. He has nearly 5 turnovers per game, and in this latest game, 6. Last game against the Timberwolves, he airballed a free throw. He's been looking like Shaq and Dwight Howard at the free throw line lately. He's 8 for his last 17 from the free throw line. This season, just 67%. I definitely have to check out that Andy Hoops video about Russell Westbrook's free throws. For Russ's whole career, he's a 79% free throw shooter. This year though, just been bad. In fact, the Lakers as a whole team, they've been bad from the free throw line. Just 73%, that's the 3rd worst percentage in the whole league. And Russell Westbrook also still thinks he's a better shooter than he actually is. Melo, okay, we knew he'd be a defensive liability anyways. That's something that, of course, we expected the whole time because he never was a good defender even in his prime. Something that I haven't seen recently though, but would like to bring up, is that many times this year I've seen him run at shooters without getting a hand up. Did he really think he was fooling anybody by doing that? Since when was that ever a way to get a shooter to change his shot or to intimidate him the slightest bit? In regards to Melo's offense, ever since I made that video about him, the rise, the fall, and resurgence of Carmelo Anthony, I feel like I cursed him. He actually did put up a good stat line against the Bulls and hit a couple big threes. And of course I didn't expect him to shoot 50% from 3 all season long, but just ever since the recording of that video, and I'll say recording because he had a horrible game right before I was actually able to upload that video. Going into this game, Melo was averaging just 10.6 points per game on just 37% from the field since the recording of that video. And from 3, just 32%. That game against the Timberwolves, 2 of 9. At least Melo does understand he's not the superstar he used to be and is willing to come off the bench now. However, he does still have a problem with chucking too much even when the shot's not falling. This was even true back when I made that video, that he just doesn't know when to stop. So, yeah, I had a lot of negative things to say. While my name is not Joe Judge, that loser and wannabe Bill Belichick head coach of the New York Football Giants, that means I do not say I like the fight when my team just got their asses handed to them, and I don't like to give out participation trophies. However, there is something positive I'd like to talk about, and that's Isaiah Thomas. I said in my Rise and Fall video about Isaiah Thomas that his days in the NBA looked numbered. Well, I was wrong about that and I'm happy about it. His season debut, 19 points in 21 minutes, and then started this latest game, 13 points. Not bad. And at least Isaiah Thomas can make his free throws. Sure, IT will not help with the defense at all, something that he never was good at even in his prime. Nonetheless though, I am very happy for Isaiah Thomas to have another chance to prove that he still can play in the NBA. Malik Monk is also someone that I have been satisfied with, and he's out with COVID right now. I don't miss Avery Bradley though. He can still apply good ball pressure, but his rotations are terrible, and on offense, he's actually shooting 40% from 3 this year, but doesn't provide anything else. There's a reason why the Warriors cut him after just 4 preseason games. THT actually played well against the Magic, fine. Against the Magic though, when I first planned to make this video towards the end of last month, he was pretty bad. He got off to a really hot start to the season, putting up 17, 28, and 25 in his first 3 games respectively, but then he got cold after that. Hopefully when he comes back, he can be a spark off the bench. When he has played, it's been very up and down. Austin Reeves, AR-15, he's definitely a positive, and him right now, I think is better than a rookie Alex Caruso. I definitely do miss Alex Caruso, And you could say that Alex Caruso is better than Austin Reeves right now, but just long term, Reeves may have more upside. That game against the Mavs, while yes, that was a lucky win, hey, that was a clutch shot that he hit against the Mavericks, and it was definitely much needed. Wayne Ellington deserves some props for that game too, both for his three that sent the game to overtime and for stopping that fast break. Had he given up on that play when Porzingis was about to dunk on a fast break, the Mavs could have sealed that right there, and the Lakers would be below 500 right now. The Lakers still shouldn't have needed overtime with no Luka Doncic though. Losing to the Grizzlies with no Dillon Brooks or Ja Morant was bad enough. Hey, Trevor Ariza is back, that's nice. He sure won't make the team any younger though. Now hey, I understand bad teams will beat good to great teams occasionally. I can find plenty of examples of that. I won't go through them though because this video is already getting long enough. But losing to OKC twice this season, the Grizzlies with no Ja Morant or Dillon Brooks, getting smoked by the Timberwolves twice. And hey, the Timberwolves do have some nice young talent, but they are not a team that should be good enough to smoke the Lakers twice this season. The Lakers should be better than this. And also the fact that the Lakers lost in triple overtime to Sacramento. This is way too many losses to lottery teams. Now with the COVID outbreak going on in the NBA and NFL with the new variant, if sports have to be temporarily shut down again, hey, this time it won't make me nearly as mad as last time. Of course, as a fan of the game, I don't want one at all. Last time it happened, it was such a buzzkill for me to see the season get shut down and possibly not end when the Lakers are finally good again. Of course, health and safety always come before anyone's entertainment though. But if a shutdown does happen again, hey, this could actually be very beneficial to the Lakers. AD wouldn't have to miss as many games and perhaps this could be some time for him to regroup. And also, Lakers basketball hasn't been nearly as enjoyable as it was in 2020. The 2020 Lakers made 2020 not nearly as bad as it should have been, at least for me. But still though, let's hope a shutdown doesn't happen. Just if it does happen, there is some silver lining for the Lakers. Now before I end this, I do want to say congrats to Steph Curry on breaking the 3-point record. We all know he's the greatest shooter of all time. I definitely plan on making a Warriors video in the near future. Hopefully I'll have a chance to watch a full Warriors game. I tried to against the Celtics, but my internet kept going out every time I tried to. Funny thing is, the internet was fine when I was actually watching the Lakers game though. So back to the Lakers. It does look like an overhaul needs to happen, perhaps something similar to the 2018 Cavaliers. One thing for sure though, this team, the way it's constructed right now, is not winning a championship. Yes, the 2020 team wasn't perfect. Sure, a third scoring option would have been nice to have, but that team won a championship anyways with great coaching and great chemistry. LeBron and AD fully bought in. I'm forever grateful for that, especially for the fact that they won that championship on my birthday. Right now though, it's a mess and everyone needs to be held accountable. It starts at the top. While no, the season's not over, these first 2 months just haven't been good to say the least. Out of who's to blame the most among the players? Absolutely the big three. LeBron is still, at least arguably, a top 5 player in the NBA today. Just his days as the best player in the NBA look as good as done. Yes, some role players deserve blame too, but I'm a believer that you must hold your stars accountable. And the main reason why I hate LeBron's cult following is that they constantly deflect blame from him and just use stats to defend him. Now don't get me wrong, I had my moments when I was upset with Kobe's shot selection too. As much as Kobe is my favorite athlete of all time, I can keep the same energy for everyone as I'm a fan of the team before I'm a fan of any player. What I do like way more about Kobe than LeBron though is the fact that Kobe took the game more seriously on a nightly basis and wasn't an excuse maker, at least most of the time. He also wasn't such an attention seeker. I know I may have came off as a LeBron hater at various points in this video, but I'm not. He won me over for life with the 2020 championship, but that doesn't mean he's above criticism is all that it is. So if you're still here, you're really a trooper because I know this was a long video. And if you want to consider hitting the like button, subscribing and hitting the notification bell for more sports content from me, you don't miss any of my future videos. Your support is much appreciated, and also the links to my social media are in the description. I will follow you back if you follow me. So this was a video that I definitely wasn't happy to make, but just as a Lakers fan, I felt like I owed it to my fellow Lakers fans. And if you want to get down in the comments and tell me what you think, you can feel free to let me know what changes you would like to make, even though I personally am not someone who likes to play GM because I'm not a GM. I'll allow playing GM in the comments though. Or if you also want to vent with me, that's fine too. This could be our therapy session. Or if you're not a Lakers fan but you were just entertained, well, you're welcome for that too, and thank you for being here. So here are 2 videos right here. If you want to click either of those, I'd surely appreciate it. So thanks for listening to me vent, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully my next Lakers video will be a happier video than this one. So talk to you next time. Peace.